Hello and welcome to the FSF PopCast Live Edition. Well, hello there, kids and cadets. Welcome to the FSF PopCast Live Edition, the show that would like to remind you that we are living in the Soylent Green timeline. So make sure you know what's in those meat alternative, kids.
You know, there is a company, they call themselves Soylent, and it's actually like a health drink. Drink.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of people share that into our Facebook group, and then there's actually a green colored label, and they're calling it mint, and I'm like, no.
Mint? M-E-N-T?
Yeah,
Mint?
yeah, exactly. M-E-N-T, mint.
What type of person gets you a mint flavor? I don't know.
I don't know.
But I think their names are Karens.
Hello to Hemant Kumar and, of course, John Wass saying hello to all of us beautiful people. He's a little spoiled or a little sided on one of them, but, you know.
I know.
He'll get to thinking that Kathleen and Nick are cute, too. So.
I was going to say, Tim, it's not fair that it's always you.
Before we get into tonight's show, we need to say our thanks to our show partner, Level Up Sabers.
All right, let's roll that beautiful nerd footage. Right, so as usual, those can be found in the comment section and the notes below. But while we are on the topic of Star Wars, I have to share these with you guys because I'm super excited. Look at the super cute earrings I got this weekend. Oh, they're little R2-D2s.
Do they make noise too when they move around?
No, I wish. But I wanted to do a shout out to Uniquely You Oddities. I found her at a craft show this weekend. She makes the cutest miniature thing earrings. Like, there were ketchup bottle ones, there were traffic cones, there were some that are bowling pins that are actually hidden pens. She's got some really cool stuff, so check out her Etsy. It is linked there as well, Uniquely You Oddities. She's got some really cute stuff, guys.
You can see her email address there, and also you can scan that QR code with your phone from the screen and go and check her out and all the cool stuff that they're doing over there. So, yeah. Excellent. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. And then also we want to make sure that you guys understand and know that it does cost a couple bucks here to do this little show every week. And if you are interested in helping us out cover those costs, then you are always able and to help us by not only subscribing, that's a very important thing that you can do, but also by doing what the link says on the screen and buying us a coffee. That helps us to cover some of our costs, your donations, and cover our streaming costs, our hosting costs, and those other things so that we can continue to bring you cool guests each and every Monday night live here on our live show, our once a month RPG streaming game that we do on the second Monday of every month. And then also, of course, our weekly pre-recorded interviews that are released every Friday morning. So it's always it's always pretty cool that we're able to do those things. But if you can help, great. If not, at least subscribe, and that continues to help, just like it does say at the bottom of the screen. Please remember to like and subscribe.
You forgot one, Tim. We also have our 5 at 5 shows on Wednesday.
Did, yeah. Wednesday night, 5 at 5. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely right. This past Wednesday, we covered 5 reasons why Rey is a Skywalker, and you guys just need to deal with it. So, if you're curious as to what those 5 reasons are, you can go to our YouTube channel and check those out for sure.
And speaking of awesome guests, let's welcome our guest tonight. First, actor and rapper Jarrell Pyro Johnson.
What's up, Pyro?
What's up? My favorite 3 amigos.
Howdy.
Hey, that's
Detroit or continuation.
And second on deck, we have sci-fi author J. Tyler Pennington.
What is up?
Hello.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Living the dream every day, all day long.
Excellent. So happy to have both you guys here and have an opportunity to have you guys join in our fun and our nerdery. Pyro's been here before. He's experienced all the pain and suffering that we can bring to our guests. But this is Jordan's first attempt through. So we're going to give you a chance, each of you, to explain who you are, what you are, and why people need to look out for what you're doing. So Jordan, let's start with you if you don't mind, and we'll go through who and what you are.
Wonderful Ohio native here. What do I do? For my real boy job, as I call it, I'm an IT person for a construction company. On the side, I try and be an actor, filmmaker, and author.
Excellent. And the name of the series that most people will be able to find you for is the Conclave Chronicles, correct?
Correct. And it is the only series they'll be able to find. Not quite famous yet with all my books. So.
All right. We can live with that. We'll get you there. All right. Excellent. All right. Pyro, tell them what's on deck. Tell them what's up.
Hey, man. First off, you're always a hero to me, Jordan. You're very famous to me, man.
You're famous to me. What are you talking about?
Man. Hey, so also, before I start, Jordan, I met him on the set that we just did recently for a film called Hostage Situation. So basically what I am an actor. Now I am a promoter. I act, I do music. I am now actually a full-time father. So that is now my first profession because my son just moved in with me. So it's a different journey. So that's first.
It is.
Yes, it is.
And then I'm constantly working. I mean, here lately, every month has been a new film. And I'm trying to get him in as many films. So as well as play football. Sorry. So it's a whole thing. But that's me, man. I'm actually a down-to-earth person who just likes to act and become characters to escape my real life every now and then.
Right. You've just got this small movie coming out.
Nobody's I do have a film coming out. That's right.
No big deal.
It's me. Oh God.
Look, there he is.
There he is.
What? No.
Yeah.
Nobody's heard of this movie.
We're not going to ask you any questions about it. We're not going to pump for any information or details. But it's super cool that you are part of Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Everybody's going to get a chance to see that coming out this year.
Cool.
And so, yeah, I had to throw that up on screen, at least for a half second.
Is it bad that I already know when I go to see it, I'm going to be like, I know somebody in this movie. And the people are going to be like, sure you do. Good.
Whatever.
I'm going to be walking in with a picture of Pyro on my phone and be like, I know him.
I'm just can I just get your face printed on a shirt?
You know what? I'm a fan first, and when I see it, I'm like, oh man, I know that guy. And my son is like, that's you. Of course you know him. I would hope. Sometimes I know him.
Let's see. Kumar says, hey, Jordan and Jarrell.
Hey.
That's my buddy. He's from Columbus as well.
Oh,
there you go.
As is Rich. I try to get as many people as I could to join in and have some fun.
Excellent. Well, we like that. Excellent.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, guys, our topic for tonight.
Yeah.
All right. So, we're the very first thing we're going to talk about is movies or music rather, that makes movie scenes better. Movies that are improved by the music, the soundtracks around them, and, all that kind of stuff. So, each of us were to bring a couple examples of what they thought were scenes that were made better by the music in them. And since this was Nick's idea, I'm going to let Nick go first.
Oh, I guess.
Leave time for the rest of us.
I hope I didn't take anybody's. But I came up
did.
with quite a few. I saw that Tim took one of mine, so there's that.
It's shared. I used it because it was twice.
Okay, so far on the list that Tim has in here, that's not any of mine.
Oh, okay, gotcha. My first one was The Princess Bride, especially during the sword fight. Because during that sword fight, that music just went along with it. Like they struck. I don't know what it's called when you do the thing with the violin.
Like
strum?
You violin the violin. I don't know.
Or like the orchestra, they all like a
riser or something, maybe.
Sure.
Sure, let's go with that. That's better than me saying violin. So,
as you know, we don't know much about music. I don't know much about music, but
I don't know much.
But like how the music just flows with the sword fight, and everything just fits very well together.
Sorry, Nick.
That's
I
fine.
help myself.
I'll just talk over you.
That's okay.
He's just going to ignore you. It's fine. He's used to this.
Lord God, you guys. It's been too long. I'm sorry.
All right. So, Nick, I'll have you share one, and then we'll just go around. We'll each share
right.
one, and then we'll come back. All right, Kathleen, what you got?
That needs to be our next review, is just a quote from Pyro with the, you guys.
Oh, Lord God.
So actually, I think the one that I'm going to go with first, because I actually have notes on this one, is the opening scene of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. The opening fight scene with Baby Groot dancing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Guardians
Mr.
of the
Blue
Galaxy
Sky?
the first one has Guardians of the Galaxy the first one has a fantastic soundtrack. But the dance fight scene at the beginning of the second one is beautiful. And Baby Groot is just the best.
Yes.
Honestly, that was almost one that I selected.
Get out of my brain.
That was very much in my list of things that I was looking at, and I was like, man, that's so good. And so anyway, yeah, I almost picked, because I really enjoy the song Mr. Blue Sky. I think it's a really good song. And then I was like, well, that's actually perfect because of the way that Groot's bopping around and dancing and everything. And Jordan asked for you guys to go buy his book, so there's the link. You guys can go to Amazon, go check that out, go buy his book, put some shekels in this man's pockets. So
Make me buy $2 a book. I think I get from Amazon.
Hey, it's
I only need to sell about 300 more to break even.
There you go. Well, at least you got a goal.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. Brother and sister.
It's terrifying.
There you go.
I did my homework 2 weeks ago when this was the original topic, John. Don't give me that crap. Know where you sleep.
And yes, they are available in hard copy and Kindle versions as well. So there you go. All right, excellent. All right, so Pyro, what's one that you picked? What's one that you thought about?
So I do have 2 movies, but I do have a show, and I know that wasn't a part of it, but this show definitely, this show needs this, because I think without the soundtrack, it'll be garbage. And I mean, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this one, but I say Stranger Things. I feel like the soundtrack saves every season of that whack piece of garbage.
Nick's like,
first season, okay. But then it just like, God, it's like, come on, man.
We were actually watching it last night. We just started season 3. We haven't even gotten to season 4 yet. We just started season 3 last night, and there was the caption of the wet squelching, and I'm like, oh, oh no. And I know that just gets worse.
Right.
I gotta say that season 4, episode 4, that was a very excellent spot.
Is that Master of
a
Puppets?
soundtrack?
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
No.
not in season 4, episode 4, but Master of Puppets was in there as well and was also amazing. But
what other song from episode 4 were you looking at?
Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush. Sorry, I didn't mean to take over from you, Jarrell.
No, you're right. No, I'm totally with you. I agree.
See, my only, having not seen season four, my only complaint about season 4 so far is the stupid Chrissy Wake Up thing in my FYP on TikTok, and I am so sick of hearing that darn song.
Yes.
Right? Because they've, actually, Kendall and I were talking about that. My daughter's name is Kendall, and Kendall and I were talking about that today, how that audio clip has been obliterated because they're distorting it and using it for so many different things, and shoving it into different songs and types. And
although the throwing it into My Heart Will Go On from Titanic was way better than it should have been.
Yeah.
It's still horrendous.
Somebody put it into the Star Wars theme today, and I about threw my phone.
Oh, have you heard it in Duel of Fates too?
Yeah, I was like,
Oh,
no.
Duel of Fates.
I'm like, no. You don't get
What
to
gets me,
besmirch
though,
John
the
Williams'
only-
name like this.
The only time I appreciate the cursed mashups like that are when women are now scaring their husbands with it or annoying their husbands with it, starting to play another song, and then all of a sudden it's the Chrissy Wake Up, and he's like, no! Any chance to annoy your husband should be exploited.
Okay,
that's the problem I'll never have.
Has it been put with Rick? I can only think of Rick Roll.
Rick Astley? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, the
I'm
never
never
gonna
gonna
give you up.
Yeah, never gonna give you up. Yeah.
Let you down.
No, I want Nick to keep singing it. That was pretty good.
Rick rolling people is fun though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, so yeah, Stranger Things, totally valid choice.
Mhm.
So I have no problem with that. We can go off the reservation a little bit with that one. That's good.
That's
All
just
right,
you.
all right, Jordan, what you got? What was your pick?
So, have you ever seen Euro Trip?
Yes.
Yes.
Scotty doesn't know. So it's not really like, it's a song that's throughout the whole show because it shows up, every time they go to a new location, they recut the song into like a different genre,
Right.
wherever they are. And like when they're drinking the absinthe, it's more like a synth techno kind of thing. At the beginning, it's, Matt Damon singing the kind of punk rock one.
Right.
And it's really great in that movie because the movie itself is so ludicrous and ridiculous and over the top and whatnot. And it's just like, you've got Matt Damon singing a punk rock song to Scotty about him not knowing that he's banging his girlfriend behind his back. And then it's just like again and again and again and again every time. And sometimes you don't even notice it. Like in the dance club there towards the end, I didn't even realize that was it until somebody pointed out to me years later. I was like, holy shit, that's that song,
Yeah, the techno remake of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of brings that movie up because it's one of those things where it's just as absurd as the movie itself is, and it just really lends to that, kind of additional absurdity.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Missing a couple comments here. Let's see. Jordan is one hell of a writer. His web series is coming soon.
I do have a perfect 5-star rating on Amazon. Just saying.
Excellent.
Is it only one review?
It's like 12, one of which is a random person, not just all
Hey.
family and friends. One random person.
Hey, whenever
I would tell people I've got 5 stars when I have one review. That's just
Nice.
I used to drive for Uber, so every time I see 5 stars on anything, I'm like, man, you got it.
There you go.
Nice.
That man, yeah.
Right. Yep.
Smart man.
There you go. Scotty doesn't know is my fave. It's one of my favorite movies. Yeah. That's not where I parked my car. Okay.
Really the worst twins ever.
Exactly. Excellent. That's a good choice. I honestly had forgotten about that, but yeah, that's a good choice. Very good. All right. So for my first pick, I went a little older on mine, and my first pick is from the movie Flash Gordon.
Okay. Yes.
Now that whole soundtrack is done by Queen, and that soundtrack is amazing. Now when they're on those those floating speeder bike things that they're using, they're coming down to attack Ming, and the music's going, the bass line just don't, and
I'm
and
pretty
then it
sure
goes
those
right
were
into
faster than the ones in Boba Fett.
yeah, they significantly yes.
Oh,
Also
A light jog.
also missing about 48 mirrors, but that's another discussion for another time. But that whole fight scene is just it's so much better because of the way that they weaved that song into the scene, and it's just and then you have Freddie Mercury's vocals coming in over top, when things are happening and things are exploding. It's the Flash, all that stuff.
Anytime Freddie Mercury's involved.
Yeah. So I've always loved that soundtrack, and I've always thought that soundtrack always made that movie so much better. Even though it's campy as all hell, although that's fine with me. I love that movie. I love the camp in the movie. But that soundtrack to me has just always taken that movie from like a 6 or a 7 up to like an 8 or a 9 because of how good the soundtrack is and the way that they wove the various Queen songs in and out of the movie. So, but yeah. So the Flash theme.
was the song written for the scene, or the scene like cut around the song?
Huh.
That's a very good question.
That is a great question.
Because
Yeah, I
I
don't
know
know.
sometimes, they're like, we want, like what's his face, Scorsese. He'll have an idea for a song. It might take him years to put it into a movie, but he's like, I want, whatever song. I want that song for this scene, and then he'll
Right.
make sure the scene follows the song versus, just making something fit.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they wrote it afterwards, after the movie was already done, or if they had an idea for the theme song and they had already presented it, and then they're like, oh man, this would be really cool if we shot this scene this way or edited this scene this way. I don't know. That's a very good question.
Right.
No, John. No. Oh,
God.
No.
Lord, not cats.
Exactly. The theme of
movie
Kill
ever?
Bill 1 was so dope. It used to be my ringtone. All right.
Yeah.
I can see
Good
that.
choice. Excellent. All right, Nick. Regale us with pick number dos.
So my second pick was Megamind. There was my favorite scene is when Megamind goes to fight Titan for the first time, and we get Welcome to the Jungle. And Mega Man has a lot of great songs in it in general, but just how he says, "Oh, you're a villain, all right, but you're not a super villain." And he's like, "What's the difference? Presentation."
Excuse me.
And then
funny.
that's when the
great.
guitar riff starts going, and
That's good.
Sorry, anytime songs get mentioned tonight, I'm going to start singing them. It's just, I can't help it.
It's a thing. I'm probably going to sing ones that aren't mentioned, so it'll be fine.
I'm also still trying to figure out if the soundtrack came first or the movie came, or if the
Yeah, that's really a good thing.
spiraling down the
that as
Queen
well.
research hole.
I guess you could look up when the movie came out versus when the song came out and see if they're
And I mean, I know that it was the original soundtrack for the movie, but did they decide the scenes and then say, hey, I want you to match up music to this, or was it the soundtrack?
That's fair.
Nick, John wants you to know that with that mustache, you have a solid career as a supervillain ahead of you.
thanks.
It's all in the presentation, Nick. Just remember.
That's fair. I like that.
Nice. Okay. Good choice, Nick, by the way. Good choice. Okay. Kathleen, what's your second pick?
Oh, man. So, I don't know which one I want to do next, because they're both good. I'm going to go with any of the uses of Carmina Burana. So, when they use opera in fight scenes, because that's just hilarious to me. But it's actually used in the 2003 version of Cheaper by the Dozen during the birthday party. That there's opera playing in the background as Steve Martin's character is launched out of the exploding bounce house.
Hilarious. That was
I remember that. It's been a long time. I've seen that.
And it's funny, I feel like any use of opera in movies is like this continuation of our exposure to opera and classical music being from Looney Tunes.
yeah.
And they throw it in movies so that we still hear it, we recognize it later with the wait, I know that song, but it's not because you've ever actually seen the opera, it's because you've watched movies. But Carmina Burana also inspired Duel of the Fates, which I thought was cool.
Oh.
Also, I've always thought too that if you typically hear opera in a movie, something bad's going to happen,
Right?
something silly, off track, like Steve Martin getting launched out of a bounce house, something along those lines, because again, in my mind, it's always been a tie back to Looney Tunes, things like that.
Right.
Because in Looney Tunes, someone always got hit with like a jackhammer or something.
Or what's that? The Acme bombs or something?
Yeah, the Acme bombs. Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like in that one too, like in Cheaper by the Dozen, the opera is getting to the big crescendo and it's going and it's big and beautiful, and Steve Martin is flying and then landing on a small child. And it's like the timing for it is so
Perfect.
perfect, and I love it.
All right. Cool. And I like the trip down memory lane for Looney Tunes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good job. All right, Pyro, what's your number 2?
Despicable Me 3.
Ooh.
Officer Black showed up to that Michael Jackson Who's Bad. I was like, oh man, I am sold. And then Andrew grew like on a little hanging with like no underwear on. And happy birthday. It's like, so good. So good. Like that's just I was in the movie theater like, oh my God, what is going on? I mean, actually, the whole soundtrack was really good though. Actually, like every song in that movie was perfect.
Yeah.
Pharrell, I think, did that. He did a really good job.
Honestly, I think in probably the last 5, maybe 10 years, I think there's been such a push on making sure that the music ties into the movies even more so.
Oh yeah.
That it's not just an added thing to the movie, but it's an extension of the movie now. Mm-hmm. And I think that like the example earlier of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies was a good example. The Despicable Me movies have been a really good example of that as well. Movies that are making sure that the music meshes with what we see on screen.
You ever watch Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where I can't think of this character's name, but the main character guy, he plays the soundtrack music for whatever the cheap CSI ripoff, and he's super sad. He's like, "This is stupid." He's like, "Do do 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 do," to this super dramatic scene, and it's like, it really shows in kind of a comical way how the soundtrack is very important to set the tone. Because you can have a very serious scene that is not as serious as it could be due to a poor choice of music. So
right.
It's kind of shows how very important music is to, like I said, set the tone, kind of get you into the mood and really sell what's happening.
Like prepare you for what's going on.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Was that your second pick, Jordan, or do you have a second pick?
I got a second pick.
Even better. All right.
Oh yeah.
Bonus pick.
Freebie in there. Bonus pick would be Hip to Be Square by Huey Lewis and the News in American Psycho. Because the song's so peppy and fun, and you've got the guy's gonna get axe murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice juxtaposition. So
exactly, yeah, because it's like he's sitting there like, hey, he giving his little like weirdo presentation about the song as the guy's sitting there in the newspaper square on the floor, and he's just putting on the raincoat talking about it, and proceeds to murder him very violently while this fun peppy song is just going crazy in the background.
That fit very well with what's his name's character as well as the film itself.
Yeah.
It just it worked,
right?
I think it kind of set the precedent for things to come as well. Like
his character is like incredibly fake because he's a psychopath.
So,
he doesn't have feelings, so he's just like, oh, I've got to like the music, and if I know a lot about it, that means other people will know that I'm a human being too.
Right.
And he can't help but continue the trend even when he's getting ready to kill this guy when he could have just took him out easy, quickly, whatever.
All right.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. My second pick, again, going back to the classics. So Smokey and the Bandit. And so it wasn't until a couple years ago that I actually realized that there was 2 versions of this song. There's one when they're on their way to go get the beer, and there's one when they're on their way back from the beer. So there's westbound and down as they're headed towards the beer because they're headed towards Texarkana, and then eastbound and down when they're on their way back towards Georgia.
Well, that's
so I never noticed that till a couple years ago, and you can
Yeah.
find them both on YouTube, and I was like, holy cow, okay, that's a thing. But I love the fact that they play eastbound and down during all the car chases and all the fun stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
When they're trying to distract the Smokey. So, but
It's funny.
but yeah, I just that song has become such a part of my family's like road trips. Like whenever we're starting, Doesn't matter which way we're going. If we're going east or west, one of those two songs is in the, usually it's eastbound and down. It's easier to play, easier to find, but that's like number one in the playlist. And it's like we're pulling out of the driveway and boop, there we go. My wife rolls her eyes and we keep going. So
yeah, like, what are you doing? We're going west now. Come on.
Exactly. Doesn't matter. Shut up. Just sing along.
But what if you're going? What if you're going south?
That's the down. That's the down.
Oh, hey.
There you go.
So is the west one then westbound and up?
No, they're both westbound and down. So westbound and down, eastbound and down.
But what if you're going north? What do you do?
Look,
there?
I didn't write the songs,
Go
man.
Like, listen, it only works in certain situations. Damn it!
You never go north.
As somebody who lives north of where Tim lives, just don't go north.
just go with it.
I mean, the benefit to being up here is we've got 500 meg charter internet, and that's about it. Other than that, there's nothing.
So I think I found an answer to our Flash issue.
Nice.
So the song was recorded October 1980. The movie came out December 5th, 1980. In the UK. In the US actually. But they were approached with the job in 1979.
Okay.
So
they wrote the song for them.
They made it for the movie, but released it before the movie. Right?
Okay.
Right.
Yes.
So it got released. Well, it was released in the UK November 24th, 1980, and then it was released in the US January 27th, 1981. So,
well, I mean, you have to give it to your hometown. I mean, well, I guess you got to give it to the UK first, not hometown. My fault. You have to give it to the UK first.
I mean, because it was a UK produced. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's interesting. Maybe it was some.
So I think the answer to this is yes.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if they were approached with the job and then they were writing the album while the movie was being filmed, they would have to have timed stuff up as they were writing it.
That's the importance of NDAs.
There you go. Well, they didn't have an internet to leak it to back then, so
true.
That's fair.
All right, cool. So, does anybody have any bonus picks that they would like to share?
I have a bonus pick.
Yeah, go for it, man.
I actually have a list, but
jeez.
It was on my phone. I just deleted it because I thought we were done. But no, I do have a bonus one.
All right, go ahead, share it.
I have a real passion for this film. It's a little older. Roadhouse. I feel like every song just hit, and it was perfect. Just like how you were talking about how the music went with the fight scenes, or mainly everything was fight scenes. But I just felt like the soundtrack was so great. Like on the road again, I just wanted to be on the road like every day. Just on the road again. I'm like, oh man, I don't even know what I'm doing. I just want to be on the road or fighting somebody either way.
The more we talk about it, the more I'm writing more options down too.
One of the options I had was Young Frankenstein, and they used the song "Putting on the Ritz." That scene was amazing.
I'd like to say I can sing it better than that, but not really.
But that's pretty accurate for the movie, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Any song in Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Oh, yes. All of them.
Yeah, Time Warp. Yeah.
All of them. The one that I just actually had come into my head was Bad Reputation by Joan Jett in Shrek.
Yeah. It's a good pick.
Shrek has a lot of good ones, too.
Shrek does have a lot of good ones, but I feel like that one in particular.
I'm a believer, so Monkeys would have been a good pick, too.
I mean, I had 2 classic 80s movies, so I had Dirty Dancing and Breakfast Club with Time of My Life, and Don't Forget About Me. Because those are both solid. The one that I was also thinking of was Billie Eilish's Bad Guy.
What was it, Billie Eilish's what?
bad guy in Sing 2.
So nice to know, John.
I loved the Sing 2 ending.
Sing 2.
Yes. I mean, Sing and Sing 2, they're both fantastic, and I'm not just saying that because I've watched them 100 times because they're my daughter's current favorites.
Yeah, you had to, of course.
You totally have to. But the last one, the one that I'm going to say is my top pick, is Juggernaut in Deadpool 2.
Yes.
Because when you're listening to it and you're realizing that that is an operatic version of people swearing. This is
Yeah.
like, it's not until you look up the lyrics or if you have captions on that you're like, wait a minute. Is that really what yes, that is really what they're saying.
Excellent.
Hey, I have one last one.
Yeah, go ahead.
You had so many. Umbrella Academy, Major Tom, when that came on.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I'm sold. Like that was like it was
that's great.
Actually, you know what? Umbrella Academy, man, that whole soundtrack is just gorgeous. Like,
yeah,
like
that's another show they're doing really good with soundtrack on.
Right. Like Jesus. That's like they did that right.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Footloose scene was hilarious too.
Yeah.
So Nick and I shared one. So he had it for the original, and I had it for the third movie in the series, but the J.J. Abrams Star Trek trilogy. Twice, because J.J. Abrams is such a fan of the Beastie Boys, they used the song Sabotage.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So once when, it's supposed to be a young Jim Kirk driving his stepdaddy's Corvette.
Well, in the first movie. Yeah.
Yeah, in the first movie. And then in the third one, they're escaping from the enemy, and I can't remember her name, but the lady they met on the planet, the alien lady, who had been on the other starship, and she found an old like USB player and was playing out old school jams, and she's like, I like this one, it's loud. And then, I'm like, yes, it is. So, but yeah, so Sabotage perfectly fit those scenes as well. So
another fun one was Wayne's World, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
just a bunch of guys.
Right, and then the tie-in when they did the Bohemian Rhapsody movie, having Mike Myers come in as a cameo role,
right,
to say that this is not a song that anybody's going to headbang to, and it's like, yes,
that was great, that was perfect.
I love it when they metagame my movies.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, those are all good picks, and so if you guys think about it, you can always. We don't mention the third one. I think he's referring to the JJ tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't a fan of a lot of people, and I understand that. It wasn't the best offering, but so but it's far harder than thinking. All right. So just a couple other things we wanted to highlight. So we mentioned this in our last live, but if you guys haven't noticed it already, our show is now available every Saturday morning on realwiseradio.com. You'll be able to hear it there. If you have an iOS phone, you guys can download the app and you guys can check it out there. But and then the other thing is there's a show out that just came out, and it's on the Disney Channel. I'm hoping that it's going to come to Disney Plus soon, but it's the work of 3 former guests that we've had on the show. And I can't believe I didn't actually put this in the slideshow for tonight. I just realized that I didn't. So, but this is the show. It's called Hamster and Gretel. It's the production of Dan Povenmire, assisted by Joshua Pruitt as a writer, and Amber Tornquist Hollinger as a director.
Cool.
And
nice.
I think Swampy did some voices too, right?
No, I don't believe he has anything to do with this production.
I
could be wrong,
heard
though.
His voice in the episode.
I'll have to double check it, but I don't believe he does.
One of the other things I find very cool about that is that Dan Povenmire's daughter is the main character voice, the girl.
So, but yeah, so here's just some screenshots of their work. just acknowledging the work that they've done on those shows. I watched the first episode. It is funny. I really do enjoy the fact that this little girl, once she gets her superpowers, every time she goes to punch something, no matter what it is, robot punch, wall punch. It's very much Dan Povenmire's sense of humor. It's very enjoyable, a lot of fun, and you don't have, like most of his stuff, like Phineas and Ferb or Milo Murphy's Law, you don't have to be a little kid to enjoy it and get the humor out of it. So we always like to highlight when former guests have done something really cool, or are about to do something really cool, and that's why we bring these things up, because we want you guys to know that the guests that we have come on here are doing really cool things, and they're involved in really cool things. And so
hey, Tim, remember last time I was on here, I wasn't allowed to say that I was a part of anything.
You weren't even allowed to say that you were.
Yeah.
No.
It's all on Google, and
exactly. Yeah, I think the last time you were here, I brought it up on IMDb, and I'm like, you don't have to say anything. It's out on the internet. You're not saying it. I'm saying it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm contractually obligated to not say anything, but there's an IMDb page that has stuff that I'm doing.
It has something in there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, you might see some set photos now. I don't know. I didn't say that. You didn't hear me. I said you didn't hear from me.
I'll be back.
Also, back on the hamster and Gretel thing. According to a very quick Google search, Disney has said that it is coming to Disney Plus this Wednesday.
Oh,
Nice.
beautiful.
The first 3 episodes will be up this Wednesday on Disney Plus.
I'll check it out.
Excellent. Yeah, that's a good show. I really enjoyed the first one. Got several chuckles, especially the brother Kevin. He amused me. So
I can't wait to watch it, and I'm also a little bit scared to watch it.
Yeah, it's good times.
I don't need thinking that her hamster needs a cape.
Hey, I've been watching a lot of Baby Groot, so now that
Mm-hmm.
I need a new Groot show.
Yeah, we watched my daughter and I watched all the shorts on Disney Plus today.
It was good. It was great.
Nice.
Hey, look at that! I just did something cool, Tim. Did you realize what I just did? And I didn't realize I did it.
No, what's that?
This show should just be called Disney Plus. Or Disney at that.
There you go. Well, everything we're talking about for the rest of the show is all Disney related. So
that's what I just did. I don't even know if I did it. It's magic.
Yeah. So Wednesday on Disney Plus will be the release of Hamster and Gretel. Thursday comes She-Hulk.
Whoop, whoop.
I'm actually really excited for this show. I think it has a lot of potential.
They totally gave me some hope because Miss Marvel was written really well, and I'm hoping that they're upping their writing game.
I hope so too. God, I hope so too.
Because as much as I love Star Wars, the writing game was like, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping that they continue with their writing game.
Yeah, I wasn't excited for it at first, but I definitely am now. Since they fixed all the little graphic errors and stuff, it looks really good. It should be.
I mean, ugly Sonic existed, so
yeah. I think we're gonna, it sounds like we're gonna see a fair amount of Abomination. We're gonna see possibly some Daredevil, Matt Murdock throughout the course of the series.
I'm sad though, because since Iron Man, has passed in our MCU, it's kind of hard to see that relationship because the She-Hulk and Tony relationship was really cool. That would have been nice. So I don't know if they're trying to do a Tom Cruise, the whole alternate universe.
God, I hope not.
Iron Man thing or something, but
I would hate to have to boycott the MCU. I really would. Look, right. I know that Tom Cruise will never be on our show, mainly because I won't invite him. But
if he asked, you'd say no.
I would. Honestly, I would say no.
Say yes, and I'll just make all the plans for it.
It'll just be a Nick interview.
I've just never been a fan of his, for whatever reason. But yeah.
Why? Because he seems just invincible, like on everything. He never
ages.
There is definitely that. For sure. But yeah, I don't know. Just never been a big fan of his, and I don't know. but I'm hoping that this show, because of the contractual issues with the Hulk and the rights to the Hulk and everything.
Right.
We can't get a standalone movie of him for some time, or maybe ever. We don't know yet. But I'm hoping that, we're able to, because of the way that they have the loan worked out with Universal, that somehow we're able to get him into more things like this, where we're able to see more of the Hulk and have him be a pretty predominant character in something where, because looks like the last decent movie of him was the one with Ed Norton, and that was, meh at
A while
best.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
While
but
the Eric Bana movie wasn't the best, I really liked the comic book kind of vibe
Yeah,
that had going on with the
good.
multiple panels and the different takes.
Yeah.
Man, that was really cool.
yeah, the story was weak, but the way that they
Yeah.
cut it, the way that Ang Lee directed it was
Oh, yeah.
actually really very cool, ahead of its time, really. I think for
Oh,
what he was
absolutely.
trying to accomplish.
It was literally a comic book movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very
So yeah,
kick-
so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
very kick-ass.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm very excited for this because I'm excited to have another comic book thing for me to nerd out and watch. I'm excited to see what they do with Jennifer Walters' character, how they proceed and how they develop her, because I think that she's something that's expandable for coming out in the future for other shows and other things, where she could not only be possibly part of other things, but where I think a character like hers, if they write her right and they build her character properly, she could spearhead some other projects, I think, coming up in the future.
Sure.
Because the She-Hulk character is strong enough, pun intended, to carry something moving forward. So
I hope they, since it's like a law thing, I don't know if they'll probably do it the first season, but I would like to see it where they have different heroes come on and have to be defended by her. So it's like you get a guest appearance from a different hero here and there. I think that'll be really cool, and it'll be different too for the MCU. And they don't have to be there the whole. It could just like a little kind of like a Law and Order, but with superheroes. I think that'd be pretty sick.
a little quick cameo, yeah,
Yeah.
that would be cool.
What was the damn Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where they would have random MCU characters show up and kind of tie in, till they didn't anymore, tie into the movies.
Yeah, the Ghost Rider was perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be great. When Ghost Rider came on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I was like, oh man.
Oh yeah.
So.
And they had Lady Sif, wasn't it, in one of the episodes?
Yeah. So whatever they can do to tie it in and make it more of a cemented part of the MCU, I think is a really good idea moving forward, because especially the things that have been part of this Phase 4 have been kind of, they're trying to relay a foundation after, they shot their shot with Endgame,
Oh yeah.
and with the passing of the torch of different characters like Captain America going away and Iron Man going away. And I'm excited to see what they do with Sam. But I also need to see more of Sam. I want them to bring him and push him harder than what they're doing right now. And, there's a whole variety of reasons why people think that that's not happening, but we'll get into that later. But I think that there definitely needs to be a bigger push on Sam and have him more in the forefront for, hopefully, as things move forward, that we see more of him as Captain.
And you always see articles, they're like, by this quote in this episode of the TV show, the MCU has ruined everything. It's like they had Phase 3 planned out roughly for years. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they just were writing a movie. Okay, what should we do next? They had the best people coming up with the storyline. So, we don't get to know what the plot is for the next 10 years because they're already laying the foundation for that. So, and I agree where it's like, what are they going to do with it? They need to do more, but, maybe they're going to set it up in a weird way we're not going to expect because, they don't want to just rehash the first 3, whatever.
I'm hoping that Phase 5 is going to be fire because it looks like it could be.
Oh, yeah.
Phase 5 going into Phase 6. It looks like it could be absolute fire.
Yeah,
for the MCU.
We got mutants now. It's going to be really cool. That's amazing. Wolverine,
Fantastic Four, the mutants.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of things that could possibly make the end of Phase 4 into 5 and then the transition into 6 just be absolutely just nutso. Lots of fun.
Bonkers.
Yeah, absolutely. So talking more things Disney, because we've only got about 10 minutes left of our episode here tonight. So now I thought this was coming up in the next couple of weeks. It's not until end of September, but Andor comes out in about a month here. And now Rogue One is one of my favorite Star Wars movies. I think that movie was just so masterfully done and just written really well. And even though, it was one of those things where you kind of got the sense early that none of these people were going to survive, it was still very cool. Oh yeah. Everybody dies except for the dude with the red lightsaber who finally gets to go off in a movie scene. And
little side aside, have you seen those Mentos commercials where they'll do the Mentos song to like a scene in a movie? Have you seen the one with him at Rogue One? Oh my God, it's so perfect.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it lines up so good. Holy shit!
Exactly. Yeah, it's good times, man.
Yeah, amazing.
But anything that you guys are hoping to see out of Andor as it's coming up?
I'd like to see some more like foundations for like how like the Rebel Alliance kind of gets started. But I know that they kind of like dance around it, but it'd be cool to see like, oh, these are like the 3 or 4 key events that happened that like really bring the main characters all together in one big, team, and not just, hey, we're a team already. You want to join us, random person who needs to drive the plot,
Right.
I wouldn't mind seeing some Syndulla. The green girl.
Syndulla from Rebels. Clone Wars.
Because
yeah.
I know
The
they
pilot of
kind of
Ghost.
like started Rebels in a way, and then I think I kind of hope we get to see a little.
Yeah,
at least
I agree. We're definitely going to see her in Ahsoka. And if you haven't caught on by now, Ahsoka's a little ways out yet, but if you haven't caught on by now, they're definitely going for Ezra. There's no doubt in my mind. I just finished watching Rebels again the other day, and the very last scene of the very last episode, Sabine looks at Hera and says, "Okay, it's time to go find Ezra." So I'm very excited for what that will bring and what that means. But I would like to agree. I do want to see them build the Rebel Alliance somehow. And honestly, for me, if I could, it's actually done really well in I don't know if you guys ever played the game, but Star Wars Force Unleashed.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
How the Rebel Alliance is built in that game with the secret meetings and all the different things, and these different Bail Organa and Mon Mothma and a few other key characters helping build that backbone to the Alliance.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I would love to see something like that brought into something on screen.
What was that other one they did with he's like a lowly one and he runs into Darth Vader at the end of the game. I can't think of it. They're coming out with a part 2 of it.
You're talking about Fallen Order.
Yep.
Yeah, Fallen Order. That's pretty fun. I like that.
So if they can like incorporate some of that in there too, that would be pretty sick.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see like more like Darth Vader whooping ass, right? Because like I said, the first time you get to really see him go ham on somebody or people was at the end of Rogue One.
I'm down.
Yeah, and they have to see him like active because he hunted people. He was like the hound dog of the Emperor, and see, okay, go get him, boy. And he just goes out there and I'm a killing machine, literally.
Yeah.
See, that's what I was saying as soon as they announced Obi-Wan was that I wanted to see Vader.
Right.
Yeah.
As much as I was excited to see Ewan McGregor come back as Obi-Wan, I wanted Vader. I wanted to see the reason that Vader was so feared in the galaxy.
Oh yeah.
Because we get all the hype in the original trilogy, but he's an old dying man. Like I want Vader.
I think they do a really good job of it though in Obi-Wan.
I think so too.
Absolutely. He snatches the plane out of the sky.
And
everybody else who's ever done that, it's like, oh, this is so difficult. And he's like, nah, it's mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that there's a little bit of that in Andor, where there's people trying to run and evade from Darth Vader, because I don't think that they're done with Hayden Christensen at
No,
all,
absolutely not.
and I hope that they're not, because I think he did so well at portraying. Because when in episode 3, when he puts on the suit and basically just screams no, and then gets to stand next to the Emperor, he really didn't get to be Darth Vader other than just to put on the suit. But in Obi-Wan, he got to be Vader.
Right.
Yeah.
And John, I was gonna say it, but yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you.
Okay, so in his 40s, he wasn't old, but he was also a traumatic burn victim. He also had cut off.
He was basically walking around in an iron lung. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But
It's like somebody. It was like somebody who had polio living to their 40s. It was impressive. It was old for that.
Well, back in the 70s, being 40 was like as old as you got, right?
Yes. Good point.
And I mean, as much as I want more Vader, I kind of hope they go away from the Skywalker saga a little bit too. Like,
right.
Yeah, they
there is
overdo that
so much more.
Well, see, I agree with you. On one hand, I'm like, okay, the Skywalker stuff is a little played out. That's all we've really seen, and that's one of the reasons why I love Rogue One so much. Even though there's a little bit of Vader in the movie, and the one scene that we do get is just chef's kiss, beautiful.
Right.
But it's so good because it's a very well-rounded, well-told story away from the Skywalker bloodline and name and all that stuff.
And they're not making somebody who doesn't need to be a Skywalker.
Right. And however, past that, if you want to give me a series of Vader being the hunter, going around kicking butt, whooping names and all those other things that I probably just screwed up there. Anyway, kicking butt and taking names. That's what I was trying to. Yeah, whooping names. There we go. That works well.
Whooping names.
I'm whooping names over here.
I just want to know how he takes butts.
There's ways.
You can name butts, I'm sure.
Just imagining, like, now it's become the Lego Star Wars, but like with potato heads.
Exactly. Episode 10.
I'm sure Donald Trump knows how to take a lot of butts.
There you go. At least barbecued ones. He knows all about barbecued butts. So, all right. But yeah, so there's a lot of cool stuff coming out on Disney, since we've pretty much talked mostly Disney for the last half hour or so. But
one thing I really liked, again, last thing for my comment about
please.
One is, so you have Vader show up at the end, right? He massacres his way through all the rebel people. Then he watches the rebel, frigate, the diplomatic frigate, take off. And then now that makes sense, because like literally 3 days later he catches it and he snatches that dude up. He's like, "Where is it?" He's like, "We're a diplomatic frigate." And he's so angry, and you're like, "But why is he so angry?" It kind of seems out of place. Now you know why. He's like, "Bro, I just literally watched you leave." Like,
right.
Like really, guy? Like, you're
Don't
just lying to me. Yeah.
I went home after watching that movie in the theater and had to walk in my door and start episode 4 so that I could watch the conclusion of Rogue One with the beginning of, and it's so perfect.
And I love that that's one of the things that you can do with sci-fi is that you can rewrite timelines like that and make them still make sense.
Absolutely. All right, so we've got to let's start wrapping things up here. But real quick, Jordan, remind everybody where they can find out about you and your stuff, please.
You can find my book series, The Conclave Chronicles, which there are 2 books right now. The third one is coming out in the next month or 2. You can find it on Amazon in softback and also in Kindle. And then shortly, I will be doing the audiobooks, and you can find it on Audible. Woo!
Woo! All right, Pyro, give them the what's up.
You can just Google me, I guess, clearly.
You can. It works.
I know. Works for us, yeah.
But Pyro Too Sick on everything: Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, Audible, anything you can think of. Because of Tim, I'm on Audible, so you can find me on that. And that's me.
There you go. Awesome.
So last Friday, our guest was Emily Swallow. You may know her best as the armorer from Star Wars shows like The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett.
Hi, this is Emily Swallow, and you are listening to the FSF Podcast.
And just real quick, I have to say this. So at the beginning of every one of our shows, like tonight and even our live show, we have a little self-deprecating joke that we always throw out there. And I love the fact that in the beginning of this one, I said something along the lines of, how the Mandalorian can earn more bounty by killing our jokes. And I love the fact that Emily, without skipping a beat, goes, wah, wah.
It was great.
That's awesome.
It just kills me. I love it.
I love it when they play along with our self-deprecating humor.
Exactly.
And you can still find that episode of FSF PopCast on our YouTube channel and your favorite audio podcast providers.
And remember, your subscription to our YouTube channel is a major help. So do not forget to click like and subscribe as you watch our videos. Now, upcoming this Friday, our guest is a very talented voice actor with credits on many animes, including Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, and many more.
Hey, this is Chris Rager, and you're listening to the FSF PopCast. Mac and cheese. It's what builds muscle.
I had to include that because if you're familiar with Dragon Ball and his character, who's Mr. Satan, it's basically, and he talks about how he came up with the character's voice and all that stuff, and he saw him as basically like a version of Hulk Hogan and brother, and you're gonna do this anyway, and then and so there's a whole bit about mac and cheese, and he was killing me with that, but so the mac and cheese bit. But we are very excited to welcome Chris Rager of Dragon Ball One Piece. He's also in the game series Borderlands and a whole bunch of other stuff to the FSF Podcast this upcoming Friday. We talk with him about his shows, what's a good starting point for people who are not yet anime fans to jump into anime, what he feels is a good place for you to start, and his advice for people who want to become voice artists and how to get started there. And there's so much more that we talk about. And of course, why Kraft needs to sponsor Chris Rager for mac and cheese as well. So be sure to tune in this Friday to watch it on YouTube, or of course you can always listen to that on your favorite audio podcast provider.
All right, well that concludes us for the FSF PopCast live edition.
That's it. All right, guys, make sure you guys go check out Jordan's books, the Conclave Chronicles. Check out Pyro at Pyro2Sick everywhere. Go check them out on IMDb. Look for some set photos that may or may not be there for a certain Marvel MCU movie. We can't say, but you might be able to. All right. But that's it. On behalf for Nick, Kathleen, and myself, thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. On behalf of the rest of the hosts of the FSF Podcast, we want to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on a future episode, please contact us by means of Twitter or Instagram using the handle @FSF PopCast. Or go to www.fsfpopcast.com and click on the contact link. Thanks again, and hope you enjoyed the episode.